Chapter 11 You are listening at novel full.audio. Second. Hand-married wife of a wealthy old man. 11 Those people were stunned by Meng Yang's words, and Luo Xing clenched his fists and glared at Meng Yang, saying, "It doesn't seem to teach you a lesson, your crazy words are going to end." Luo Xing's fist had just been raised, and the bodyguard standing next to him had moved quickly to Luo Xing, took Luo Xing's fist, and pressed him to the ground. "Dare you do anything to me?" Luo Xing's heart was even more furious, but he soon recognized that the bodyguard was always following his father, but was pressed to the ground in front of so many people. To make him feel ashamed, he struggled and shouted, "Let me go. I let you go, did you hear me?" Master, Uncle Yuan said, "Master Meng Yang has indeed registered his marriage with Mr., and a wedding will be held after a certain period of time. The gentleman has told him that Master Meng Yang is now the owner of Longling Mountain like him. Have you heard it?" Meng Yang looked at Luo Xing and said, "I am the master here now, as to whether you will be in the future, maybe you are." "Impossible!" Luo Xing shouted with ugly face. "How could my father suddenly marry him? This is absolutely impossible." "It's impossible, you can ask your father if you don't know." Meng Yang turned and said, "Uncle Yuan, take me to the master bedroom to see." "Yes." Uncle Yuan respectfully replied and led the way ahead. Other people look at me and look at you. They all see the expression of incredulous shock from each other's faces and eyes. "Well, what is going on? Meng Yang actually married Luo Xing's father. How is this possible? Yeah, not to mention anything else. Meng Yang had been with Luo Xing before. With this alone, how could Luo Xing's father marry Meng Yang? Besides, Luo Xing's father was not the same age as Meng Yang. Too much. Why in the end, why did Luo Xing's father marry Meng Yang? How could we know the reason? Luo Xing. When everyone looked at Luo Xing and wanted to ask him if he knew the reason, they found that Luo Xing's face was ugly to a certain degree, and looking at him, he certainly didn't know the reason, so he didn't dare ask. In addition to Luo Xing's face being the most ugly, Yu Junchen's face was also very ugly, because if Meng Yang really married Luo Xing's father, then Meng Yang became Luo Xing's elder, and he felt Meng Yang will definitely let Luo Xing's father stop him from marrying Luo Xing. Uncle Yuan took Meng Yang to the master bedroom, which is Luo Xiu's living room. This is a suite with many rooms. Meng Yang and Lu Yunjing walked into the bedroom. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows were the open-air swimming pool and garden. Looking out at the sea, the blue sea surface rolled up in layers, the view was very good. "Are you really planning to stay here?" Lu Yunjing asked after walking down to the sofa in the garden. "I have married Uncle Luo, and of course I want to live here." Meng Yang stood beside the fence and looked at the sea in the distance. Although the hatred of the previous life is still not eliminated in the heart, at present, revenge is not the most important, and revenge is the most important, so he will create the opportunity to get along with Luo Xiu as much as possible. At this moment, Luo Xing had rushed to the headquarters of the Luo group to question Luo Xiu. "Luo Dong, Master Yum wants to see you." The assistant outside the office said through the conversation machine. "Let him come in." Luo Xiu had expected Luo Xing to come, but he did not intend to let Luo Xing waste too much of his time. "Father." After the office door opened, Luo Xing walked quickly to Luo Xiu's desk and looked at Luo Xiu and asked, "Is it true that you married Meng Yang?" "It's true, he is now my legal partner, and we will have a wedding in a while." Luo Xiu looked at Luo Xing with a blank expression and replied. Luo Xing said angrily. "Meng Yang, he had been with me before. You know that. You married him, have you considered my feelings? It's not your turn to challenge my decision. Now that you know the truth of the matter, you can go out." Luo Xiu said coldly. "I don't agree." Luo Xing shouted. "I don't agree to your marriage." Over the years, have you ever treated me as a pro-son, even if you don't listen to me? Even now, marriage is such an important thing, don't you ask me how I feel and think? What qualifications do you have to disagree? It's me who wants to get married. I need to ask your thoughts and feelings. Which of the people you have dealt with has been approved by me? Have I interfered in your love? My relationship is not marriage. Marriage is such an important thing, it is not the same thing as communication. Then I will tell you now that I disagree with you and Yu Junchin. You will break up with him immediately and then marry the person I appointed. Will you do the same? Luo Xing froze, and then explained to himself. I and Junchin really love each other, You don't accept my interference in your marriage, but you want to interfere in my marriage. Luo Xiu interrupted Luo Xing's words. I will say it again last time. No one has the right to do anything or decide what I want to do. Interference, including you. If you dare to come and yell at me again, don't go back to the Luo's house and get out. As soon as Luo Xiu finished speaking, the bodyguard walked in quickly, dragging Luo Sheng with an ugly and complex mood out. Yu Junchin sat in the car and waited for Luo Sheng. After watching Luo Sheng's ugly face get in the car, he asked carefully. What did your father say? He really married Meng Yang. Luo Sheng propped up the steering wheel with both hands and forced his breath to suppress the anger in his heart. My father admitted that he was married to Meng Yang, and a wedding will be held in a while. How could this be? Yu Junchin said doubtfully. Why did your father marry Meng Yang? When did they know each other? Luo Sheng held his forehead, and he couldn't figure out why his father suddenly married Meng Yang. Is it because you want to get engaged to me? Yu Junchin turned to look at Luo Sheng and said, Your father, wouldn't it be because I didn't want us to be together, so? After listening to Yu Junchin's words, Luo Sheng immediately said affirmatively. It must be right, because I am going to get engaged to you without getting his consent, so he starts to be strong and marries Meng Yang. Just to threaten me to break up with you. So what should we do? Yu Junchin said very uncomfortably in his heart. I don't want to cause you to have a bad relationship with your father because of me. If he doesn't want us to be together, it's not as good as ours. No. Luo Xing said firmly. We can't just compromise so easily. This must be my father's plan to break up our business. We must not be easily shaken, otherwise we will lose. My father wants to use me against him. Marriage, to interfere with my freedom of marriage, I can't let him do it. Then your father married Meng Yang, did you really not bother to ask? Yu Junchin was still worried. You can rest assured that even if I don't oppose, there will naturally be other people who oppose it. We will be quiet bystanders and wait for the result. Luo Xing sneered. Meng Yang really thought to follow me. Will my father be able to suppress me when my father gets married? There is no point in being able to bear it, but he has the courage to marry my father and sometimes he regrets it. Is it right to marry your father? Yu Junchin said suspiciously. Your father is older, but after all, he is also the leader of the Luo group. As far as I know, many people want to marry him. It's just that after he divorced your mother, he has been single and unmarried. Unexpectedly, he would actually marry Meng Yang. My aunts and uncles or uncles and cousins are not good culprits. Besides, my grandmother is still there. My father has always been filial to my grandmother, and my grandmother also hurts me so much. Play it. After the news of Luo Xiu's marriage to Meng Yang became public, many people were shocked, and within a certain range, it caused a high degree of discussion. The news that Luo Xiu and Meng Yang got married could shock the unrelated people so much. The others in the Luo family were even more shocked. So one or two went to ask Luo Xiu what was going on. Luo Xiu was too lazy to respond to them one by one. He simply announced at the shareholders' meeting that marriage was his personal affair, no one had the right to interfere, and he and Meng Yang were already legal partners. If they divorced, Meng Yang would take half of his property. Luo Xiu's brothers, as well as his uncles and cousins, had already negotiated, and must persuade Luo Xiu not to get married, but when he heard that Luo Xiu had become a legal partner with Meng Yang, and divorced, they will also separate Luo Xiu's general property, so they can only watch the change first. And Luo Sheng's grandfather, Luo Xiu, has not been married for so many years. He thought Luo Xiu had given up the idea of getting married. Luo Sheng would definitely be the heir of the Luo group, but Luo Xiu suddenly announced that he would get married. Unprepared. And he thinks that after Luo Xiu gets married, there is a high possibility that he will have another child, and then the variables will be even greater. He feels that he needs to do something. The author has something to say. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or irrigated nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angel who cast, landmine. One is trapped buying AI, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. 16 bottles of rain clear in the evening, 8 bottles of sand sculpture netizens cute, 2 bottles of Linda, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man. 12. Yu Junchen returned to the villa where Luo Sheng sent him. When he told Meng Yang about marrying Luo Xiu, the whole family was very shocked and unbelievable. Meng Yang actually married Luo Xiu's father. Zhao Wan said with a shocked expression on his face. How? How is it possible? Why did Luo Xiu's father marry Meng Yang? Yeah. Meng Yang's aunt also said incredulously. Meng Yang's age is so different from that of Luo Sheng's father. Meng Yang is crazy about what he did, and he can be your father. People get married. After recovering from the shock, Ms. Yang's younger aunt said, although Luo Sheng's father is older, but that is the leader of the Luo group, no matter what he is like, he alone the assets and strength of the young men and women who want to marry him must have been more. The appearance and love cannot be eaten as meals. When people are alive, it is the most important thing to enjoy. Yes. Yu Junchen's aunt said. This Meng Yang married Luo Sheng's father, which can be said to be a step forward. After all, Luo Sheng's father is the leader of the Luo group, and Luo Sheng inherits Luo Jia's industry. I don't know how many years to wait. If Meng Yang gave Luo Sheng's father a baby, who will inherit Luo Jia's family property? It's really bad. What are you talking nonsense about? Zhao Wan said very unhappy. Meng Yang married Luo Sheng and his father, maybe it will affect Jun Chen's engagement with Luo Sheng. Do you know? Don't you say help Jun Chen thinks of a way to discuss how well Meng Yang married Luo Sheng and his father is here. I just said that, Yu Junchen's aunt laughed and said. Even if Meng Yang married Luo Sheng and his father is a great thing, it has nothing to do with me and Jun Chen's uncle. Our couple, my heart is definitely towards Jun Chen. Yu Junchen and his aunt only reacted. They are from Yu Junchen's side. It must be that Yu Junchen is better. They can be better. Meng Yang has nothing to do with their husband and wife. Meng Yang's sister.in-law exchanged glances with her aunt and said, do aunt think too much, sister.in-law, our heart is also towards Jun Chen. After all, you know Meng Yang's character, too extreme and weird. Dare to count on him to help us a little bit. Jun Chen is such a kind person. Of course, we hope he can get engaged and married Luo Sheng smoothly, and then be happy and happy. Yeah, said Meng Yang's aunt. We all count on Jun Chen now. Although I am Meng Yang's dear aunt, we can't stand his temperament and character, like Jun Chen's good temper and good character. People should be more happy. Yu Junchen, who had been sitting on the sofa without a word, stood up and said, I'm tired and I went back to the room to rest. Jun Chen. Zhao Wan also stood up, and after watching Yu Junchen go upstairs, she angered the others. I tell you, if Jun Chen can't get engaged to Luo Xing smoothly, you all move out for me, no one wants to stay here. As soon as Yu Junchen entered the room, he lay down on the bed. He now understands Meng Yang's feelings somewhat. Everyone lives in his house, but one set behind the other is calculated for his own benefit. Holding him. But Yu Junchen already knew what kind of people they were, so he didn't really pay any attention to it. Now, what he is most worried about is whether he can get engaged with Luo Xing smoothly. Let Meng Yang continue to show him the contents of the book handed down from the previous generation of Meng Jiazu. Yu Junchen thought that Meng Yang could not understand and comprehend the contents of the books, and those books were useless in his hands. If they were in his own hands, he would definitely play the biggest role. He really needs those books for the beginning of the competition, but what exactly does it take to get those books? When it was time to fall asleep at night, Luo Xing gave Yu Junchen's villa, the lights in everyone's room were on, and Meng Yang had already married Luo Xiu, making them sleepless at the same time. Yu Junchen's uncle and aunt, naturally, hope that Yu Junchen can become Luo's family as soon as possible, so that their children can get more help from Yu Junchen in the future. Meng Yang's uncle and aunts were thinking about whether to persuade Yang Su to reconcile with Meng Yang. Before that, they knew that Luo Xing did not like Meng Yang, but fell in love with Yu Junchen. Yang and Luo Xing had no hope, so they helped to hide together, but the situation was different now. Meng Yang married Luo Xing's father, who was already a member of the Luo family. Luo Xiu's relatives and brothers also lived on Longling Mountain, but they did not live in the main house on the top of the mountain, but lived in several mansions on the mountainside. Because the old lady was still there, they had not really divided. Because of the family, Luo Xiu allowed them to live in a mansion on Longling Mountain. When Luo Xiu returned to Longling Mountain at night, a large group of people were waiting for him at the main house. Luo Xiu walked into the hall, Uncle Yuan helped him take off his coat and gave it to the servant, and the others stood up immediately. After Luo Xiu came to the throne and sat down, the others sat down. Luo Xiu wiped his hands with a hot towel, took a cup of tea and took a sip of tea, and then looked at the people and said, "My wedding hasn't started yet, you just got together, what do you want to do?" We are here to see, brother's wedding, is there anything we can do to help?" Luo Xiu's third brother Luo Ming said. In fact, they knew that Luo Xing's grandfather was coming, so they all came to see what Luo Xing's grandfather would tell Luo Xiu. Uncle Yuan walked to Luo Xiu's side and said, "Sir, Grandpa's grandfather, Grandpa Cheng is here." Luo Xiu said after a moment of silence. "Please come in." "Yes." Uncle Yuan turned and walked out. After a while, Grandpa Cheng walked in. Except Luo Xiu sitting still, everyone stood up to say hello to Grandpa Cheng. "You're always unlucky." Luo Xiu put down the teacup and said, "We are having a family meeting. If you are not in a hurry, why don't you sit down and wait for a while, and wait until I finish talking to them, then listen to you. What do you want to say?" "It seems that I came, it is indeed not the right time." Master Cheng sat down opposite Luo Xiu, and then said, "You said yours, I'm not in a hurry." Luo Xiu looked at other people and said, "Who am I going to marry is my business. If any of you dare to talk more and even want to intervene, I will let you experience what it's like to be interfered with in life. Meng Yang and I have already registered and obtained the certificate. He is now my legal partner. If you are not used to it, you will have a clear relationship with me. I will hold a wedding with Meng Yang after a while. I don't care, but if you dare to use your brain, you must be prepared to bear the consequences." "Sorry, Mr. Cheng." Luo Xiuyo looked at Mr. Cheng and said, "Let you read jokes all the time. After a good day, people will become unknowingly wrong, and they may even deliberately qualify for anything. This kind of person who has no self-knowledge, feels that he is qualified to manage everything, and wants to control everything, is the most lacking of lessons. What do you say?" Father Cheng said after a moment of silence. "You don't have to refer to Sang Xuanhuai, I know you mean I'm not qualified to control who you marry. Although you divorced my daughter for many years, my daughter gave you a son anyway. I am Luo Sheng's grandfather and grandfather. I am also an elder. As an elder, today I have a few words to persuade you. Isn't it too much? You always laughed. Luo Xiu smiled and said. I don't have such a good life. I can have elders like you. When our Luo family was about to go bankrupt, you wished that we could never let Luo family turn over. Looks like, I still think, what kind of hatred do you have with our Luo family? How dare you dream of having an elder like you? Over the years, Luo Xiu said so straightforward for the first time. Old man Cheng's old face couldn't be hung, and he felt very embarrassed. At that time, he did not expect that Luo Xiu would be so powerful. Not only would Luojia Company turn over in a short time, but also the Luo Group would be so big. If he had expected that the Luo family would have such a situation, he would not have done so absolutely at first. Now that Luo Xiu has mentioned the things of the year, he really has nothing to refute. However, he felt that Luo Sheng was Luo Xiu's only son. As Luo Sheng's grandfather, he was still eligible to replace Luo Sheng to fight for the benefits he deserved. Chapter 13 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rich second wife of the rich old man 13 Meng Yang has been standing at the corner of the stairs, secretly observing everyone below. Among those sitting below were Luo Xiu's 3 younger brothers, 1 cousin and 2 cousins, and their respective wives. Grandpa Cheng, who came in later, was originally prepared to put on the shelf of his elders, but when Luo Xiu said a few words, he was speechless. Just looking at Luo Xiu's back, Meng Yang could feel his oppressive momentum, let alone those who directly faced Luo Xiu. Grandpa Cheng, Luo Xiu and his daughter have been divorced for more than 10 years. He actually came to rely on the identity of Luo Sheng's grandfather and came to put Luo Xiu's elders on the shelf. He wanted Luo Xiu to determine Luo Sheng's heir. Luo Sheng, but his daughter greened the child born by Luo Xiu, and he was not born by Luo Xiu. However, Mr. Cheng didn't know about it yet. It is currently known that Luo Sheng is not Luo Xiu's biological person, except for Meng Yang, only Luo Xiu and Luo Sheng are fucking. Luo Sheng's mother must have thought that no one knew about it except her, so she never said it because it would be of no benefit to her to say it. Luo Sheng could inherit the property of the Luo family. And Luo Xiu hasn't said the reason for this matter. Meng Yang speculates that he didn't say that, he wanted to get breathing time and opportunities. Not to mention now, he wanted to use this incident to retaliate the Qing family, because he knew that the Qing family must make every effort to let Luo Sheng inherit the Luo family's business, and the greater the expectation, the greater the blow. Luo Xiu is waiting for an opportunity to give the Qing family a fatal blow. Meng Yang thought that there might be other reasons, but he could only ask Luo Xiu if he could make this matter public. When Meng Yang saw Luo Xiu standing up, he immediately turned upstairs. Grandpa Cheng left first, except Luo Xiu's second brother Luo Qi took his wife to his residence. Everyone else went to Luo Ming to continue to discuss what to do. What did you say? What's going on? Brother suddenly decided to get married, and the marriage partner, or the person who had been with Luo Sheng, is the father's former lover of his son's marriage. What is it like? That Meng Yang, only 19 years old, the main reason for marrying his elder brother is definitely for money. The elder brother and he are already legal. Even if he is divorced now, he can still divide at least a half of his elder brother's property. That can be all the Luo family's money. If I were really divided by that Meng Yang, I would really think that my heart was bleeding. What do you think Big Brother thinks? I recommended him so many right-handed people. He also told me not to do much business, but now I suddenly married a shareholder of a small company. That kind of little boy, just give it a little money to play, even if the eldest brother really married him. Is this a bad thing or what? He became the legal partner of the eldest brother. Maybe we all have to look at his face in the future. We live to this age, and look at the face of a person as big as his own child, do you say this is ridiculous? Now I can only get Mom back soon, and only if she is there, can she live in this family. I called Mom, she can't walk away now, there is no way to come back immediately. Mom said, everything is waiting for her to come back, and now, no matter what happens, do not call and annoy her until she can. When I come back, I will naturally come back to deal with these things immediately. Now we can't do anything, we can only wait until the aunt returns. Luo Xiu came out of the bathroom after taking a shower. When he saw Meng Yang sitting on the bed and looked at him, he said, there are many rooms on this floor to sleep, you don't have to force yourself to sleep in a bed with me. I didn't force it. Meng Yang looked at him and said, we are all legal partners. Isn't it normal for us to sleep in a bed? And if let Luo Xing know that we will sleep in separate rooms when we get married, no more can you use the question to play and taunt and humiliate me. Luo Xiu was a little tired and didn't say much. He lifted the quilt to bed and lay down, and then tried to let his brain and body relax. Meng Yang saw Luo Xiu as tired, moved to his side, then looked at his face and asked, are you tired? Luo Xiu was indeed tired, so he had to relax his brain and body quickly, otherwise he would have a headache for the next few days. When Meng Yang saw this, he no longer disturbed him to rest, turned off the headlights with the remote control, leaving only the dark yellow night lights on both sides of the bed, and then lay down to sleep beside Luo Xiu. Living alone under the cliff for 15 years has made Meng Yang accustomed to being alert at all times, otherwise he may be attacked by snake ant poisonous insects or even beasts at any time, but sleeping beside Luo Xiu, smelling the smell of him, let Meng Yang has a feeling of great peace of mind. This is the first time he has slept so relaxed after so many years. When he slept in the middle of the night, Meng Yang suddenly woke up, because the familiar smell that he had assured him disappeared. He opened his eyes and saw that the side was empty. He sat up and saw Luo Jiao sitting on the sofa by the glass wall. Meng Yang got out of bed and walked to Luo Xiu's side, looked at him and asked, what's wrong with you? No, you go to bed. Luo Xiu said with his eyes closed. His headache broke out, and the more he lay down, the more uncomfortable he was, so he could only sit and rest. Even if Luo Xiu didn't say it, Meng Yang actually knew that he was suffering from a headache, so he couldn't sleep because he was uncomfortable. In his previous life, he had seen Luo Xiu's painful feeling when he had a headache, which was much worse than it is now. Meng Yang turned to the dressing room next door, opened the suitcase he brought, took out the things he had prepared for Luo Xiu, and returned to the bedroom. Luo Xiu endured a headache like a burst, and his body was tight and could not relax, but the more this was, the more tired and exhausted, the worse the headache. He had suffered from headache since a few years ago. The doctor said that it was because of the car accident many years ago, and that he worked too long and did not pay attention to the rest. Therefore, after Meng Yang was injured because he saved him, he always strictly required Meng Yang to take a good rest and check on time, just not to let Meng Yang leave the same sequelae as him. When Luo Xiu first took over the management of the Luojia company, there was a man-made car accident. At that time, he injured his head, but the wound soon healed, and the doctor said that it was no problem. After he officially took over the Luojia company, he began to deal with all kinds of things day and night, and there were a lot of entertainment and intimate communication, so that he sleeps no more than 3 hours a day, sometimes even a few consecutive. I didn't go to bed to sleep, but just took a nap in the car and immediately started to deal with various things. It took more than 10 years. From a certain day, he suddenly got a headache. He didn't care too much, but the pain gradually became more and more serious. He went to the hospital for examination. The doctor prescribed a lot of medicine to him, but it was only a little effective at the beginning. After eating too much, there was no effect at all. The doctor said that there was no better way to relax and rest his brain and body. So Luo Xiu tried many ways to relax himself, but in the process, he fell in love with extreme sports, because after that great stimulus, he got a sense of physical and mental relaxation. Luo Xiu suddenly smelled a cold fragrance with a faint herbal scent. It was a very good scent, and it smelled very comfortable. He opened his eyes and looked at Meng Yang's censer on the coffee table and asked, "What is this?" "Fragrant. Sleep incense," I adjusted myself. Meng Yang said, looking at him. Luo Xiu closed his eyes again and carefully smelled the fragrance from the censer. In order to treat his headache, he tried many methods, from ancient times to the present, has been very popular with the aroma treatment of the upper class. He also tried many times, but the effect is not very good for him. However, Luo Xiu did not say that the aromatherapy had no effect on him, mainly because he did not want to crack down on Meng Yang. He has invited many master-level aromatherapists to help him prepare the medicine for headaches, but they have not been able to achieve good results, let alone Meng Yang is not even a perfumer. However, Luo Xiu felt that this scent was indeed very good. It was able to bring out a scent that made him feel comfortable even in the case of a headache. This shows that Meng Yang is still very talented. During the 15 years that Meng Yang lived alone under the cliff, he was blind, deaf, and speechless, and could only distinguish everything by his sense of smell. During those 15 years, he used olfaction to find something to eat, and judged his surroundings by olfaction. When dangerous animals approached him, even if they were far apart, he could immediately smell them. Breath, from the smell to distinguish something poisonous. Meng Yang felt fortunate that after his rebirth, his sensitive sense of smell did not disappear, and even after the test, he learned that he had a high smell quotient. Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second-hand married wife of a wealthy old man. 14. Luo Xiu opened his eyes violently, turned his head to look out of the glass wall, and found that the sky had lighted up. He actually fell asleep in the event of a headache, and he fell asleep until dawn. He glanced at the incense burner on the coffee table. It was obviously not as painful as it was last night. Luo Xiu looked at Meng Yang, who was curled up on the sofa opposite him, and was still asleep. He stood up and walked around the middle coffee table, then squatted down and looked at Meng Yang's sleeping face. There is a question that puzzles him, but he is not in a hurry to know the so-called truth. Maybe everything is really just a coincidence. Luo Xiu lifted Meng Yang from the sofa and prepared to put him on the bed to let him continue to sleep, but as soon as he touched Meng Yang woke up. "It's dawn?" Meng Yang asked half-open. "Well, it's already morning." Luo Xiu put Meng Yang on the bed and looked at him and asked, "Will you continue to sleep?" "Do not sleep." Meng Yang sat up, rubbed his eyes with his palm, and then looked at Luo Xiu and asked, "Did you fall asleep last night?" "Asleep?" Luo Xiu answered. "Is it?" Meng Yang said with a smile. "These medicinal fragrances are really good for you. I also often suffer from insomnia, so I specially adjusted the sleeping incense for myself. We can use it together in the future. However, I smelled something wrong with you last night. Apart from insomnia, should your body have any other uncomfortable things?" "Smell, my body is not right." Luo Xiu looked at Meng Yang with puzzled eyes. "Yes, just last night, when you were sitting on the sofa, your body must be particularly uncomfortable, so some odors were generated, and I smelled them." Meng Yang pointed to his nose and said, "I have a very sensitive sense of smell, can smell the smell that most people can't." Luo Xiu was silently thinking about Meng Yang's words. According to his knowledge, in ancient medicine, relying on Wanwenwenki to diagnose the condition, and Wanwenwenkin's smell, in addition to the meaning of listening to the sound, also means smelling the body's scent judgment condition. If you want to become an aromatherapist, you must have a sensitive sense of smell and a high smell quotient. What's wrong? Am I wrong? Meng Yang asked Luo Xiu when he saw silence. "You're right, I was really sick yesterday, so I couldn't sleep." "Then can you tell me, are you uncomfortable? Tell me in detail, maybe I can bring up the medicine to help you treat it." "I'll talk about it later." Luo Xiu glanced at the time and said, "I'm going to the company now. The people of the wedding planning company will come over today. Just tell them what kind of wedding you want to hold. Just talk to them today. The location is fixed, so I can send an invitation. Okay, I know. Meng Yang felt a little lost in his heart, but he could understand why Luo Xiu didn't tell him that if he changed to himself, he wouldn't immediately believe that if he hadn't been treated with a bad headache, he was cured by a person who was not even a perfumer. Luo Xiu stroked Meng Yang's hair, then got up to wash. The people of the wedding planning company recommended Meng Yang a lot of wedding venues, including the Luo Group. There are many hotels and resorts, which are suitable for weddings, but Meng Yang chose to be in the main house of Longling Mountain host a wedding. Meng Yang's original intention was not to have such troublesome weddings held elsewhere, and at the moment, his marriage with Luo Xiu was only an agreement, so he didn't want to be too laborious and time-consuming. But when Luo Sheng and his uncles learned that Meng Yang decided to hold a wedding in the main house, he felt very angry and felt that Meng Yang was deliberately demonstrating with them. On the wedding day, all guests who received the invitation handed in the invitation letter at the intersection under the mountain, and then drove up the mountain. Meng Yang was completely cold with his dad in his last life, so he didn't invite Yang Su and Zhao Wan to the wedding, but his uncle and aunt didn't invite them. They just couldn't go up the mountain without invitation. The guard at the foot of the mountain reported to the housekeeper, and the housekeeper asked Meng Yang again. Meng Yang told the housekeeper to let the guard drive them away. Meng Yang's uncle and aunts, seeing the brave men in black suits and sunglasses, dared not make trouble here, and they just left in disgrace and scolded Meng Yang very angrily along the way. Stop! However, Luo Sheng brought Yu Junchen to the wedding banquet. After Yu Junchen looked around the magnificent hall, the mood was very complicated. After he and Luo Sheng were open together, he always hoped that one day he could. The main house of the Luo family held a wedding with Luo Sheng, but he was unexpectedly robbed by Meng Yang in front of him, and Meng Yang still married Luo Sheng's father. Although Luo Sheng told him that his father's marriage with Meng Yang would certainly not last long, after he got engaged to Luo Sheng, Meng Yang became his elder, and the relationship was too chaotic. Luo Sheng originally didn't want to come to this wedding. He didn't agree with, but he didn't want Luo Xiu to have an excuse and reason to disagree with his engagement to Yu Junchen, so not only did he come by himself, but he also brought Yu Junchen here. The wedding officially began. Meng Yang held Luo Xiu's hand, in the sound of music in everyone's eyes, from the red carpet to the sworn platform. This was the first time Yu Junchen had seen Luo Xiu himself. After seeing Luo Xiu's appearance, he couldn't help but stunned. He always thought that Luo Xiu should be the middle-aged version of Luo Sheng, but Luo Sheng did not look like Luo Xiu at all, and he did not expect that Luo Xiu was more handsome and attractive than Luo Sheng. It doesn't look like a 40-year-old. Luo Sheng didn't want to see the two people who had stood on the high platform and were about to take the oath, but when he swallowed his anger and turned his eyes to Yu Junchen, he found Yu Junchen's expression stunned and asked suspiciously. What happened? You don't look like your father. Yu Junchen didn't return to his mind, and said something subconsciously. Actually, I am not very similar to my mother. I look more like my grandfather and uncle. Luo Sheng looked at the people on the high platform again, and then turned away immediately. Yu Junchen looked at Luo Xiu's deep facial features, with a perfect proportion and a strong and tall figure. Not only did he have the charm of a mature male who couldn't move his eyes, but also he was imposing and decent. He had to say that looking at the appearance and everything he currently has, this is really a perfect and easy-to-move man. Although this was his boyfriend's father, his heart accelerated uncontrollably. Before Yu Junchen was very certain that Meng Yang was revenge for him and Luo Sheng, so he suddenly married Luo Sheng's father. But now seeing Luo Sheng's father himself, he was sure that his previous thoughts were shaken. Such a charming and perfect man who wanted to marry him because of his enthusiasm for him was the more likely thing. It was Junchen in my heart, there was envy. Your father really married Meng Yang because he wanted me to break up with you. Yu Junchen asked in a low voice. Besides this reason, I can't think of other reasons for the time being. Anyway, they certainly won't get married because of falling in love. Luo Sheng said. The same is true for the two people who had no previous contact. How could they suddenly fall in love? Yu Junchen didn't know if he was comforting himself. After he finished speaking, he felt relieved. Meng Yang and Luo Xiu have already finished their respective vows, and the last is to exchange rings and kisses. After the two put the rings on each other, Meng Yang looked up at Luo Xiu and waited for his kiss. Under everyone's attention, if Luo Xiu just kisses Meng Yang's forehead or cheek, it is likely to cause Meng Yang to be ridiculed by the handle, so Luo Xiu and Meng Yang held his face after looking at each other for a while. Kissed his lips, and blocked it slightly with the palm of his hand, so he didn't kiss very hard and no one could see it. The two's lips were gently pressed against each other. This was Meng Yang's first kiss in his life, but he didn't think it was a real kiss. He was looking forward to the day when Luo Xiu truly kissed, that means Luo Xiu really fell in love with him. The reason why Meng Yang felt that Luo Xiu also liked him was because one day, when the two of them looked at each other, Luo Xiu gradually approached to kiss him, only turning his head away when he was about to touch his lips. Luo Xiu felt the softness of Meng Yang's lips. He felt that Meng Yang's entire body was like his lips. It was very tender and soft, and he also exuded a good scent. Child. After the announcement and exchange of rings was completed, Luo Xiu took Meng Yang to greet the guests. Although the two have registered for marriage and have already held a wedding, there are really many people who hope that they can divorce quickly. In addition to Luo Sheng and his grandfather, and those who love Luo Xiu, they hope that they can divorce quickly. Meng Yang knew very well that his life after marrying Luo Xiu might not always be calm and smooth, but he was already prepared to face everything. Luo Sheng. Meng Yang stopped Luo Sheng, who wanted to turn around and take Yu Chen to avoid them. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rich second wife of the rich old man 15. Meng Yang and Luo Xiu approached Luo Sheng and Yu Junchen. Meng Yang introduced to Luo Xiu. Her husband, this is Luo Sheng's current love partner, Yu Junchen. Luo, Uncle Luo, this is Yu Junchen. Yu Junchen asked Luo Xiu nervously. Luo Xiu just nodded and said nothing. Luo Sheng, I know that I married your father. It is difficult for you to accept it for a while. You also know that you are not willing to call me dad now. Meng Yang said with a smile. But I can understand your mood, just like I am now just married to your father, but I already hope that you can marry the most suitable person. Among those who came to the wedding today, there must be someone more suitable for you. My father and I will be good. Help you pick. You. Luo Sheng's scolding almost blurted out, and he couldn't scold under Luo Xiu's cold eyes. He only clenched his fists and gave Meng Yang a hard look, then hugged Yu Junchen. Turn around and step aside. Yu Junchen glanced back and happened to meet Meng Yang. Meng Yang looked at him and deliberately smiled proudly. Yu Junchen couldn't help worrying more. He felt that with Meng Yang's prevention, he would be more difficult with Luo Sheng. In fact, Meng Yang didn't even plan to stop them together. He wanted to see, in this life, after he changed the direction of things, the two of them would not be as loving as the previous life. Lu Yunjing, his grandfather and his father are here. Meng Yang greeted them in the past, and Luo Xiu was also talking to several of his friends. Luo Xiu's friends ridiculed him. It's too sudden for you to get married. I have known you for so many years. Why don't I know the young type you like? Yeah, for so many years, I haven't seen anyone you particularly like. We are confused at your marriage. There is still, you have someone who wants to get married, and even we are hiding it. Is it too boring? I have to know it in advance, so I can tell you in advance. I suddenly decided to get married, and I myself didn't know a few days earlier than you. Luo Xiu said. Really? It doesn't fit your personality. Is there any reason? Luo Xiu shook his head and motioned them not to ask. But the kid is really pretty. Yes, the appearance is impeccable, but you also see more people who look good. It seems that he is particularly attractive to you. Anyway, you still have a companion by your side. Enjoy the wedding night tonight. Luo Xiu's friends raised his glasses to bless him. Only Luo Xiu sighed helplessly in his heart. Among the many guests who came today, many people are thinking, if they knew that Luo Xiu liked this young and beautiful boy, they could prepare earlier, but it is not too late to know anyway, they don't send marriage objects anyway. Those who have sent Luo Xiu young and beautiful boys are even more puzzled, thinking that Luo Xiu suddenly changed his preferences. Although the people who came to the wedding banquet almost didn't know Yu Junchen, they also knew that these people were rich or expensive, and almost all of them were high-profile people in high society. Imagine that before he was 10 years old, he lived worse than ordinary people, but now he has been able to stand among the crowds of high society. This is a very different change for him. Can we hold an engagement party here when we get engaged? Yu Junchen asked in a low voice. You can do whatever you want. Luo Sheng looked at Yu Junchen and said. Then we are here too, okay? Yu Junchen wanted to become a member of Luo's family as soon as possible. Although it was only an engagement, not a marriage, if he could hold an engagement banquet in the main house, he would be more confident. Okay. Luo Sheng immediately agreed. After the wedding banquet, Meng Yang and Luo Xiu returned to the room to rest. Meng Yang walked out of the bathroom wearing a bathrobe. After sitting down by the bed, he looked at Luo Xiu, who was sitting on the bed and closed his eyes and said. You have been so busy lately, have you had a worse headache? Just 2 days ago, Luo Xiu finally told Meng Yang personally that he was suffering from a headache. I'm used to this pain. Luo Xiu was very busy recently, and he couldn't really relax after returning home. Can't you take a good rest and work again? Meng Yang looked at him and said. It's good to be busy this time. Luo Xiu opened his eyes and saw that Meng Yangbai had some transparent skin and a face that had become more rosy just after taking a hot bath. It looked like the freshly cleaned peaches are fresh, delicious, and hydrated, and they also have an attractive sweet smell. I'll help you relax with a massage. Meng Yang recently spent most of his time studying the aromatherapy content in the books left by the Meng family ancestors. Although he is very clear, Luo Xiu has accumulated for many years. The symptoms that come down cannot be cured in a short time, but I hope that I can help Luo Xiu reduce headaches while studying. No need, Luo Xiu refused. You are tired after a busy day, go to sleep. I'm not tired. I didn't worry about the wedding. It's still early. If I go to bed immediately, I won't be able to fall asleep. Meng Yang extracted essential oils from the bedside table 2 days before and prepared to help Luo Xiu massage. Get down quickly, and it will be better soon. Meng Yang urged. Luo Xiu gave Meng Yang a helpless look, and then turned around and fell down according to his words. Meng Yang took Luo Xiu's robe to his waist and sat on his waist. Although he had no talent for perfume in his previous life, in order to become a perfumer and to understand the contents of those ancient books, he has also learned the basic content. For example, understanding all the acupuncture points of the human body is one of the most basic contents that must be learned to become an aromatherapist. Meng Yang poured the essential oil into his palms and rubbed it warm, then from Luo Xiu's neck to shoulder to back, he pressed the acupuncture points with appropriate force to clear the meridians. Luo Xiu rarely massages because he doesn't like the feeling of someone touching him on his body, but when Meng Yang's hand is on his back, it may be that the technology is really good. He felt very comfortable, and the body that was tense because of tolerating the head gradually relaxed, and after the body was relaxed, the head did not seem to hurt so much. Meng Yang helped Luo Xiu stop for half an hour, and the service was very attentive. He also used a hot towel to help Luo Xiu wipe away the essential oil on his neck and back. Meng Yang sweated a little and went to take another bath, while Luo Xiu was asleep. After Meng Yang took a shower, he returned to the bed and lay down beside Luo Xiu, sleeping tightly next to him. Luo Xiu woke up the next day and saw Meng Yang holding his arm and sleeping tightly against him. He looked at Meng Yang's naive face when he fell asleep, and felt that Meng Yang was more like a child when he fell asleep. The age of 19 is indeed a child for him. Just treat him as a good son. Luo Sheng and Yu Junshin were about to get engaged, but that night, Luo Sheng sat unhappy in the bar of the entertainment club, waiting for his friends to come over to drink with him, and Yu Junshin was sitting on his persuade him. Since your father doesn't agree that we will hold an engagement banquet in the main house, then we will do it in the hotel. In fact, it is also very good to do it in the hotel. Don't be angry. I'm angry about his attitude towards me, from small to big. He has never managed me, even if he does not love my mother, I am also his son, but he never did a little as a father responsibility. Luo Sheng was very angry when he thought of Luo Xiu's attitude towards him. It's all me who is bad and shouldn't ask you to hold an engagement banquet in the main house. Your father didn't approve of our engagement, but now we are not allowed to hold an engagement banquet in the main house, instead of preventing us from getting engaged. Very good. I don't want to make your relationship with your father worse because of my relationship. I will definitely try to get your father's approval, and then when we get married, let him agree that we can hold the wedding in the main house, so it's just for me. You don't want to be angry with your father again, okay? Sometimes, I really don't want you to be so kind. The more kind you are, the more vulnerable you are. Luo Sheng said, holding Yu Junshin's hand. But I believe that there are good rewards. Yu Junshin said with a smile. After Luo Sheng's friends came, he accompanied him to drink and chat, and then discussed how to celebrate and play with the group of friends on the evening when Luo Sheng and Yu Junshin's engagement banquet ended. The door was suddenly opened, and the service staff at the outer door failed to stop, letting a group of people go in. In fact, these service staff did not dare to stop, but they could not help doing the same. Young Master Luo. Congratulations. Luo Sheng collapsed as soon as he heard the voice. The author has something to say. In order to avoid everyone wasting time, here is a mine for everyone. Meng Yang will be a very powerful aromatherapist in the future, and the content of aromatherapy and aromatology has true and false, and the proportion of false accounts for more, so if you think that aromatherapy cannot be so powerful in reality, you can't accept this reality. Su Shuang's plot that could not happen in the middle, no need to waste time to continue reading. In addition to aromatherapy, there will be other plots that are inconsistent with reality. I must ask readers who meet the possibility of reality in the Rebirth Shuangwen. I can only sincerely ask you to find other articles that meet the requirements. Seeing is uncomfortable, it is better to stop loss in time. The original intention of writing is that I hope that while I am writing happily, people who read the text will also be able to read it happily. If a reader accidentally clicks in and reads it very unhappy, then I am sorry that it is really limited in ability and level. It is impossible to satisfy everyone. I will continue to write as I want. Chapter 16. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second. Married wife of a wealthy old man. 16. Xiao Ku walked in with a group of his friends. He placed a bottle of red wine in front of Luo Sheng and said, I heard that your father is remarrying and marrying your former lover. My friends and I come and congratulate you. This is a bottle of wine is a congratulation. The former lover changed to dad, except for you, I don't know the second one, it is really gratifying. Xiao Maniac, I advise you to hurry up before Luo Sheng is angry. Otherwise, don't regret it. Xiao Ku deliberately made an exaggerated look on his chest. Let me regret it soon, Master Luo, I beg you. You really owe a lesson to your life. You have to be taught by me every once in a while to make you comfortable. Luo Sheng looked at Xiao Ku with a cold face. If I have the habit of working on other people's cars like you, do you think you still have a chance to say such things to me? Xiao Ku looked at Luo Sheng with an ironic expression and said, you should thank me for not same habits as you, otherwise you would have been lying in the hospital for a long time. Luo Sheng's face was even more ugly because of Xiao Ku's words. Xiao crazy, don't talk too much. There must be a limit to crazy words. I'm just telling the truth, so you think I'm too much. Xiao Ku raised his hand and pointed all of them on purpose, then looked at Luo Sheng and said provocatively, send one of you casually, race with the people of our team. If you win, I will put my words on the paper and swallow it in the stomach, and I will not mention it again. If you lose, the car used for the race will belong to us, dare to accept it. Is there anything I dare not accept? The challenge of defeated men. Luo Sheng looked at Xiao Ku and said, time. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Xiao Ku said. Can. Xiao Ku grinned at the corner of his mouth and then turned his friends away. Xiao Ku's best friend, Sudi, has a particularly good car skills. He has compared with Luo Sheng in many games, but Luo Sheng only won him once, and Luo Sheng won that time because someone moved on Sudi's car. Suddenly, Sudi's car got out of control and hit a boulder during the race, and Sudi became a vegetative. Since then, Xiao Ku has changed his temperament, and he wants to revenge Sudi with violent racing, but his car skills are not as good as Luo Sheng, so he has never won Luo Sheng. Luo Sheng himself felt that Sudi became a plant, and should not be his responsibility, because he did not let people move Sudi's car, but Sudi's cousin wanted to borrow money from him and made it for himself. He advocated doing it. Although he did not make it clear that he should not do it at the time, but was silent, he was regarded as the default by Sudi's cousin, but he still felt that this matter had nothing to do with him. Although Sudi's cousin went to prison, and Xiao Ku retaliated against him through various methods, Xiao Ku still felt that Sudi had the responsibility of Luo Sheng as a vegetative. Sudi did not wake up one day, and Xiao Ku's hatred towards Luo Sheng will not disappear. Meng Yang called Luo Xiu and determined that Luo Xiu was busy until he came home late, and then he went to Lu Yinjing's house to keep the bodyguards outside. After dark, Meng Yang put on black clothes, wearing a hat, sunglasses and a mask, and Lu Yinjing secretly left from the back door. When he was about to reach the racing track, Meng Yang got on Xiao Ku's car again. There were a lot of people watching the racing circuit tonight. Xiao Ku's team is quite famous among the non-professional racing team, so every time their team wants to race with others, there will be a lot of people to watch. Before Sudi's accident, Luo Sheng never won Sudi. After Sudi's accident, Xiao Ku never won Luo Sheng, so this time he came to see the lively people and still favored Luo Sheng. Do you still buy Luo de Xiao to win today? Aren't you talking nonsense? Although you don't care about the money, you will feel very ugly if you lose. I got a message from the staff of the racing circuit. I heard that Xiao Ku's car skills have improved a lot, and if I do this, I will win. We have lost 7 or 8 games. No matter how much progress we can make, we won't be able to win so quickly. This time, Luo Sheng will definitely win. Let's first look at the situation and then determine the possibility of Xiao Ku winning Luo Sheng. I also think that the gap between Xiao Ku and Luo Sheng is quite large, and I always feel that Luo Sheng intends to let Xiao Ku, otherwise the gap will be greater. Maybe he also feels uneasy about Sudi's things in his heart, after all, that matter, even if not his original intention, but also because of him. It's a pity to talk about Sudi. His car skills are really cool and have his own unique style, which is quite different from his usual appearance. Yeah, if there is no accident, with the support of Xiao Ku, he must be a professional racing driver now. To win a few professional races, the investment will be there immediately, and you can make a lot of money. Look. Xiao Zhao's car is coming in. Xiao Ku drove the car directly to the starting point and then exchanged positions with Meng Yang, and did not get off to greet him, but he was just like Luo Sheng, and everyone else was used to it. Luo Sheng was sitting in the car talking to his friends. Seeing that Xiao Ku had arrived, he drove the car to the starting point. After the race started, the two cars started at the same time, but soon, Luo Xing's car drove to the front, and Meng Yang drove Xiao Ku's car, closely following Luo Xing's car. The car was parked next to the racing field, and Lu Yunjing also drove his newly purchased car to the middle of those cars, and then sat on the car, watching the big screen playing the racing process, although I know that Meng Yang's current car skills are very good. But the racing process is still full of various accidents, so he is still a bit nervous for Meng Yang. After driving several consecutive corners, Meng Yang had not overtaken, and when driving uphill, the distance between the two cars gradually narrowed. Luo Xing's car flew out in front of Meng Yang. In the eyes of everyone, Meng Yang drove directly over Luo Xing's car. The crowd of people watching exclaimed, it was quite skillful to be able to fly so far and steadily rush out. Luo Xing saw Xiao Ku's car falling from the sky and fell in front of him. He was also very shocked, and immediately accelerated to overtake. This drift is so beautiful, Xiao Ku's progress is too fast. It seems that the news that Xiao Ku has made great progress is true. Did he find a good coach? Depending on the situation, Xiao Ku is going to win, but I bought Luo Xing all of this month's pocket money and won. Luo Xing, you are arguing more than you are. This car skill is really very good. After all, I asked the coach to teach it. I want to learn it and give it a try. Xiao Ku grasped the handrail tightly. He could feel that Meng Yang didn't fully exert his car skills, otherwise Luo Xing would lose very ugly, but if others knew the weight of a person on the car, this degree, it has made Luo Xing lose terribly. Luo Xing couldn't get over it, and he was anxious in his heart. Since Sudi's accident, he hasn't felt the feeling of losing again. He hates losing and can never lose to Xiao Ku. In the past life, Meng Yang worked his car skills. When he finally won Luo Xing no longer played racing. The reason for Luo Xing's refusal to race with him was also very simple, that is, he spent most of his time learning how to manage. The company has no time to train, and Meng Yang won't make any sense even if he wins. These meaningless words are quite shocking for Meng Yang, who has finally achieved fruitful training in car skills, but Luo Xing is unwilling to compare with him, and he has no way. Meng Yang now thinks about himself in the past life. It feels like he is remembering a person who even looks down on him. Everything he does for Luo Xing is like a satire. Now he doesn't understand at all what Luo Xing deserves to love. Sometimes he even feels that the Meng Yang in the previous life is not the same person as the present himself, because the thinking is completely different. Meng Yang deliberately kept a certain distance from Luo Xing, just in a high corner. When Luo Xing was about to overtake him, Meng Yang suddenly turned his direction and slammed into it. Luo Xing's car, at all in the shocking eyes, it just rolled over from above, and Meng Yang passed the corner smoothly. The siren sounded at the racing track, and the staff drove over to save people. Although the position of the simulated mountain road is not particularly high, and the sand is below, the car may be injured if it rolls over. The hospital was rescued. Xiao Ku was also taken aback by Meng Yang's move, because Luo Xing was not the only dangerous person just now, and their car might also overturn. But after watching Luo Xing's car roll over, he had a very happy feeling. After a dozen staff brought medical staff to drive, Luo Xing was taken out of the car. After checking him, he found that he had no injuries other than dislocated arms. Meng Yang drove the car to the end and stopped, then gave the driver's seat to Xiao Ku. He put on a mask and sunglasses and sat in the corner of the back seat. Xiao Ku drove the car in front of those onlookers, and then waited for Luo Xing to be sent over before getting off and walking towards him. Luo Xing, are you okay? Yu Junchen looked at Luo Xing worriedly and asked. I'm fine. Luo Xing said with a bad face. It's better to go to the hospital for a check. Yu Junchen still felt very uneasy. They would hold an engagement banquet in a few days. He didn't want Luo Xing to carry out an engagement ceremony with his wounds. He still had to go to the hospital to check him. Luo Xing looked at Xiao Ku who was approaching him and felt that Xiao Ku would definitely say something unpleasant and humiliating to him. Before Xiao Ku spoke, his face was already ugly. Your car belongs to our team. Xiao Ku looked at Luo Xing and said. You remember, not I won you, but our team, you won. Xiao Ku's words not only left Luo Xing inexplicable, but others were also puzzled. This is not the first time our team has won you, nor will it be the last time, because since then, I will never give you the opportunity to work on our car again. Well said. Xiao Ku's friends immediately coaxed to respond to his words. After Xiao Ku's words were finished, the people on the side all thought he was to represent Sudi, so he said that it was not him who won Luo Xing, but Luo Xing who was won by their team. Luo Xing originally wanted to teach Xiao Ku in public after winning Xiao Ku this time, and let him remember more. It is better not to talk nonsense in the future. But he didn't expect that he would lose to Xiao Ku. Now he is taught by Xiao Ku with a high attitude. Even if he is angry, he can't refute it. Although Xiao Ku's heart was a little excited, but he wasn't Luo Xing who won, so he still seemed quite calm and did not show a particularly excited look, so that everyone including his friends felt that Xiao Ku had really changed. I feel more and more steady. Until Xiao Ku drove away, those people were still discussing the racing process just now. Thank you. Xiao Ku said to Meng Yang. I didn't win Luo Xing for you, but for myself. Meng Yang said. When you can win Luo Xing in person, thank me again. Xiao Ku held the steering wheel tightly in both hands, determined that he must practice his car skills as Meng Yang taught him, and he would not race with others until he won Luo Xing. The author has something to say. Stop tomorrow and change the day, you don't have to wait. Thank you for the little angel who voted for me or an irrigation nutrient solution. Thank you for the little angels who cast mines. Gillard, Twilight and Rain, and Lingling dropped one, thanks to the little angel who irrigated, nutrient solution. 15 bottles of His Highness 9-tailed fox, 10 bottles of tutu, thank you very much for your support, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 17 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rich second wife of the rich old man 17 Yu Junshin accompanied Luo Xing to the hospital to check that he was not injured elsewhere. Because Luo Xing's mood was not good, he still felt uneasy, so he accompanied Luo Xing back to the main house of Longling Mountain. The two sat on the sofa in the living room. Luo Xing took a cup of tea and took a sip of tea. When he remembered that he was hit by Xiao Ku's car, the anger came out again, and he threw the teacup to the ground. Yu Junshin was taken aback by his movements, and then looked at him and said. In another 4 or 5 days, we are going to hold an engagement banquet. Do you want to get engaged to me with anger? No matter who I lose to, I can't lose to that madman Xiao Ku, otherwise he will utterly lose my reputation everywhere in the future. I must win back as soon as possible, not let him be arrogant for too long. Even if you want to win back, wait for the engagement banquet before you say good. Yu Junshin prayed to look at him and said. Don't think about it for now, I really don't want you to get engaged to me with such an unhappy mood, just for me, okay? Luo Xing took a deep breath and pressed down the anger and unhappiness in his heart. He held Yu Junshin's hand and said, I'm sorry, I will try my best to control my emotions. At this time, Meng Yang just came in and looked at Luo Xing's displeasure and Yu Junshin's worry. He smiled and asked deliberately. Look at the two of you with such happy faces, what good things happened is it better? Tell me to share your happy mood and make me happy too. Luo Xing was already in a bad mood. After seeing Meng Yang, he felt even more uncomfortable. After glaring at Meng Yang fiercely, he got up and returned to the room. Yu Junshin also stood up. He glanced at Luo Xing's back, but instead of following up immediately, he walked to Meng Yang and said, Meng Yang, I have something to do with you. I'm in a good mood today, so allow you to talk about it. Meng Yang looked at him and said. I know, you are revenge me and Luo Sheng, so Luo Sheng's father married, we. You want me to revenge you and Luo Sheng before you married Luo Sheng's father. I asked you, what do you think Luo Sheng is better than his father? Is Luo Sheng more handsome and attractive, or Luo Xiao is more handsome and more attractive? Is Luo Sheng more rich and capable, or Luo Xiao more rich and capable? Yu Junchen had a clear promise in his heart, but he couldn't say it. You don't need to think about it seriously, the answer is already very obvious, isn't it? I have already married a man like Luo Xiao, do you think I can still look at Luo Sheng? It's like having a luxury estate, who is going to miss ordinary villas? Shouldn't it be, really like Uncle Luo? Yu Junchen asked, looking at Meng Yang in surprise. How is it? Meng Yang said with a smile. Uncle Luo is much older than me. In any other way, I like him. Isn't it a very strange thing? Uncle Luo didn't marry you because he liked you. If you get too deep, you will only get hurt more badly. Yu Junchen, a bitter-mouthed woman, persuaded Meng Yang for good looks. Meng Yang, don't if you continue this way, even if Luo Sheng is not with me, he will not be able to be with you, and even if you are married to Uncle Luo, you will be less likely to be happy. You deserve a more happy happiness. In life, as long as a person who loves you wholeheartedly appears, I believe you can wait. Every sentence of Yu Junchen made Meng Yang feel ridiculous, but instead of expressing his mockery of Junchen in his heart, he walked over to him and intentionally whispered. I am so young, I look good too, it's not bad. I sleep with Uncle Luo every night, and then do something. I am confident that Uncle Luo likes me, but after all, no one of you ever thought that I could marry Uncle Luo. Is it true? Who will be right in the future? Yu Junchen was silent for a while, and did not want to continue this topic. He looked at Meng Yang and said, I want to ask you, can I not show up on the day I got engaged to Luo Sheng? Because you sold the house before things, and the fact that your wedding did not invite your aunt to them, they are still quite angry now, in case you quarrel again, don't you make people laugh at the joke. So, by the time, don't go to are they meeting? This is not enough. Meng Yang said immediately. I and Uncle Luo's wedding, you are all accompanied by Luo Sheng, you are engaged with Luo Sheng, how can I not go? And Uncle Luo originally did not want to participate in the engagement ceremony with Luo Sheng, if I do and convince him to go, he will definitely not go. How does Uncle Luo go? Yu Junchen was anxious. He is Luo Sheng's father. If he doesn't show up, Luo Sheng will be unhappy. Our wedding, Luo Sheng has brought you to participate, but you are engaged with Luo Sheng, but you don't want me to show up. The good thing is that you don't want me to argue with my dad and aunt. What is the real reason for you? I knew it myself. Meng Yang finished with a smile, turned to the elevator, and returned to the room to rest. Meng Yang. Yu Junchen was very anxious. He did not want Meng Yang and Luo Xiao to attend his engagement banquet with Luo Sheng, but if Luo Xiao did not attend, someone would definitely think Luo Xiao did not recognize him. Luo Sheng is engaged, and then laughs at him behind his back. When Meng Yang slept in the night, he felt a movement around him, and immediately woke up, but he knew that it was Luo Xiao, so he moved to the side between half a dream and half awake, and then used the movements he was used to these days. Hugging Luo Xiao's arm tightly. Luo Xiao was also used to Meng Yang's movements. After turning to glance at Meng Yang's sleeping face, he turned off the headlights with the remote control, and then closed his eyes to prepare for sleep. Sleeping in the middle of the night, Luo Xiao suddenly woke up, this time not because of a headache, but because of the heat in his body and heart that made him unable to sleep. Although in Luo Xiao's heart, he feels that he does not have any other ideas about Meng Yang, but he is a normal man after all, even if he sleeps alone, there will be occasional reactions, not to mention such a fragrant and the soft young body touched him so tightly, and the sweet smell on Meng Yang didn't know how it came. Luo Xiao knows that Meng Yang usually has to practice perfume, so all the toiletries used are fragrance-free, but every time he comes out of the shower, he will have such a sweet smell, which is clear when the sky is clear, but the fragrance gets deeper into the night the more intense. Luo Xiao began to sweat, he took a deep breath, lifted the quilt out of bed, and then walked to the bathroom. Meng Yang also woke up because Luo Xiao got up. He thought Luo Xiao was going to the toilet, so he didn't care to continue to sleep, but he didn't fall asleep completely, but kept a little consciousness waiting for Luo. Repair. Luo Xiao put his hands on the wall of the bathroom, and he felt guilty in his heart. Although he has vented on other people with no emotion in these years, but those are all transactions, he should not have caused Meng Yang such a feeling. After all, Meng Yang has a life-saving grace for him, and he is such a clean child. Because of trusting him, he has a sense of dependence on him, but he can't control his most primitive physiological impulse. What is the difference from animals? Luo Xiao opened the cold water shower, let the heat feel down, and blamed himself psychologically. After waiting for a while, Meng Yang did not see Luo Xiao coming out of the bathroom. He thought he had another headache, so he sat up and prepared to get out of bed to look at the bathroom. Luo Xiao just came out from inside. Did you have a headache again? Meng Yang asked Luo Xiao with a sleepy look. No, go to sleep. Luo Xiao lifted the quilt to bed and was about to lie down. Meng Yang wrapped his neck around him and focused on him carefully. Luo Xiao hugged Meng Yang's body and sighed helplessly in his heart. When Meng Yang's smooth face rubbed on his neck, the scorching heat he finally rose again. After Meng Yang determined that Luo Xiao's headache did not occur, he fell asleep on him. Luo Xiao put Meng Yang down and let him lie down, he moved to the side, and then he lay down and continued to sleep. Soon it was the day of Luo Sheng and Yu Junshan's engagement banquet. Their engagement banquet was held in the Garden Castle Hotel under the Luo Sheng group. But this engagement feast was like the home of Luo Sheng's grandfather, because all the guests except Luo Sheng and the friends invited by Yu Junshan were invited by Luo Sheng's grandfather. Luo Sheng's mother was abroad and did not rush back to join Luo Sheng and Yu Junshan's engagement party because she did not agree that Luo Sheng got engaged so early and was not satisfied with Junshan's family background. Even if Luo Sheng and her having said a lot of good things about Yu Junshan, she just kept her disagreeing opinions, thinking about coming to Japan and waiting to see if Yu Junshan is really as good as Luo Sheng said. Chapter 18 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second. Married wives of wealthy old men 18 Before the engagement ceremony officially began, Yu Junshan was in the lounge, talking to his friends. Luo Sheng deserves to be the master of the Luo family. I heard that it is necessary to hold a banquet here, even if it is rich, it may not be possible. That's it. Of course, you can use the hotel you want, and use it whenever you want, and you don't need to spend a penny. You just need to give a command, and someone will prepare it immediately, right Junshan? I don't know very well, it was all arranged by Luo Sheng. Yu Junshan said with a smile. In fact, he knew it very well. Luo Sheng personally went to the general manager of the hotel and said it several times before the manager agreed because he didn't want to offend him. Yes, but the money must be paid. All of Luo Sheng's expenses are now given by his grandfather. Mr. Cheng really likes Luo Sheng's grandson, but he has cultivated Luo Sheng so hard, and his investment in Luo Sheng is better than that of his grandsons. More, of course, is to enable Luo Sheng to bring more benefits to the Cheng family after inheriting the Luo group. Jun Chen, will Luo Sheng's parents come today? Aren't you asking nonsense? Certainly you will come, how can your son get engaged and the parents are not present? Right, Jun Chen. Yu Junshan just smiled and didn't answer, because he was not sure if Luo Sheng's father would come, only that Luo Sheng's mother would definitely not come. So Meng Yang will come together. I still feel very surprised when I think that Meng Yang actually married Luo Sheng's father. It must be because Luo Sheng looks like his father. Meng Yang cannot be with Luo Sheng, so he decided to marry Luo Sheng's father. Really Meng Yang did this kind of thing, but Jun Chen, after Meng Yang married Luo Sheng's father, shouldn't it affect your stay with Luo Sheng? In case Meng Yang blows Luo Sheng's father, what's the wind beside the pillow? These people were originally friends of Meng Yang and Lu Yunjing, but they didn't expect that Meng Yang would actually marry Luo Sheng's father. They regretted that they were standing too early, but now it's too late to regret. According to Meng Yang's character, even my dad didn't care anymore, let alone these people, so now they can only stand firm on Yu Junchen's side, and then expect Yu Junchen to marry Luo Sheng successfully, otherwise they will be white, the team is gone. Moreover, some people can only be considered rich at home. In the past, the conditions were far worse than those of Lu Yunjing's family, and much worse than those of Meng Yang. Compared with the Luo family, that was a far cry. So I have never seen Luo Xiu himself, but I think that since Luo Xiu and Luo Sheng are father and son, they must look very similar. Luo Sheng's father did not disagree with our engagement, and I believe that my relationship with Luo Sheng can overcome everything. Yu Junchen replied. The others looked at each other, and then continued. Luo Sheng is the only son of his father. His father will not remarry until now. It must have been done. Luo Sheng must inherit everything. They are, after all, father and son. Which is so easy to be provoked. Luo Sheng's father, in the end, will certainly respect Luo Sheng's choice. Yeah, Meng Yang definitely thinks that as long as he marries Luo Sheng's father, he will definitely prevent Luo Sheng from being with Jun Chen, but today Luo Sheng is not going to get engaged to Jun Chen, his purpose is absolutely not possible to achieve. To tell me, even if Luo Sheng looks like his father, they are not the same person. How did Meng Yang do it, sharing the same bed with someone who can be his father? But Luo Sheng looks so handsome. If he resembles his father, then his father must have been very good. But where is his age? Even if he looks good and the two stand together, it must be like father and son. Yeah, Meng Yang is really cruel to himself in order to dismantle Jun Chen and Luo Sheng. Luo Sheng's father is so much older than him. They are together. Just thinking about it, I even stood up. Although there are so many husbands and wives nowadays, Meng Yang is also a person with certain assets, and he is also a great young man who has no food and clothing since he was young. Listening to their words, Yu Junchen's smile, which he had tried to maintain, gradually became more and more reluctant. Fortunately, the service staff came to inform the engagement ceremony that he was about to start, and he quickly got up and went out. At the beginning of the ceremony, Yu Junchen saw that Luo Sheng's parents were not present. To say that his heart was not lost, it must be fake, and the guests who came did not come as much as the day when Meng Yang and Luo Xiu married. This garden, although the hotel is very beautiful, it is certainly not comparable to the ostentation and significance of the Luo family. Yu Junchen can only comfort himself in his heart. When he and Luo Sheng get married, he will get everything he wants. After the ceremony ended for a while, Meng Yangkai and Luo Xiu appeared at the engagement banquet together, and everyone looked at them. Those who had not seen Luo Xiu, especially those of Yu Junchen, were very surprised after seeing Luo Xiu. Is that Luo Sheng's father? Why doesn't he look like Luo Sheng? It should be. You see Meng Yang holding his hand, Luo Sheng and Jun Chen are also walking towards them. Is Luo Sheng's father so young? If he is Luo Sheng's brother, I believe it. Yeah, looking at someone who doesn't seem to have a son as big as Luo Sheng. And he looks too handsome, much more handsome than Luo Sheng. The figure is also very good, just like a male model, and has both temperament and momentum. It is simply a walking male hormone. I used to think that I only like girls and I don't feel any men, but if it is this man, I really can. Me too. Meng Yang looked at Luo Sheng and Yu Junchen, and said with a smile. Congratulations on your engagement, and wish you all together forever. Meng Yang thought the two of you should be together for the rest of your life, don't separate and harm others. Luo Xing ignored Meng Yang, but looked at Luo Xiu and said, Father, today my grandfather and uncle are also here. It would be better to take this opportunity today and you sit down and talk calmly. Those previous things, let him pass when it has passed. Luo Sheng, Meng Yang interrupted and said, You are not too young, and you are already engaged. Why are you so ignorant? Some things can be a few simple words. Just go, do'n't you care if you do'n't care. When Luo Xiu took over the Luojia industry, the man-made car accident was arranged by Luo Sheng's uncle. This matter is not a secret, and everyone who knows it knows it. Luo Sheng's uncle wanted Luo Xiu's life at that time, and the Qing family did a lot of excessive things to the Luo family. Luo Sheng now just a few words, just want Luo Xiu to ignore the presumed, it is simply no brain. Shut up. Luo Sheng looked at Meng Yang angrily and said, There is no share of you talking here. I have nothing to do with your grandfathers and uncles. Xiu Luo looked blankly at Luo Sheng and said, You are facing your grandfathers and they, I don't care, but if you think I will for your sake, just let them know what you think, then you think too much. Father. Luo Sheng really hoped that Luo Xiu could see his grandfather educate him for so many years, and be able to reconcile his grandfather and his uncles. The win is good for both parties, and with him as a tie in the middle, the cooperation between the two will be stronger. Meng Yang saw Luo Sheng's thoughts and mocked him for being affectionate in his heart. He never wanted to think about it. When his grandfather and uncle wanted to put the Luo family and Luo Xiu to death, why didn't he see his share? Do you want to do those things? Now why should he ask Luo Xiu to reconcile with the Qing family for his sake? Let's go. Luo Xiu looked at Meng Yang and said. Okay. Meng Yang nodded. Luo Xiu originally didn't want to come today, and Meng Yang persuaded him to show his face, because Meng Yang knew that Yu Junqian didn't want him to appear with Luo Xiu, but the more he didn't want, Meng Yang wanted to talk Xiu appeared together. After watching Luo Xiu and Meng Yang leave, Luo Sheng was called by his grandfather to greet guests, and Yu Junqian was immediately surrounded by his friends. Is that the man Meng Yang took just now? Is Luo Sheng's father? Yes. Yu Junqian nodded. He looks like he is about 30 at most, and he doesn't have a father-son relationship with Luo Sheng at all. Luo Sheng's parents married earlier. Yu Junqian said. But he looks really much younger than his peers. I have seen a lot of handsome uncles, but like him, a handsome uncle, I am the first. Yeah, and he is the chairman of the Luo group, rich and powerful, and attractive. Meng Yang made money by marrying him. These people were so excited after seeing Luo Xiu. One of them finally noticed the change in Yu Junqian's complexion, coughed a few times and reminded him, a person's appearance is not the most important. The key is not whether they really love each other. The others responded, and then said, That's right, Luo Sheng loves Junqian so much, and the two of them must be happy. The possibility of Meng Yang being happy is too small. After all, he is like Luo Sheng's father. People, I want to send him too much, and I don't know how long Meng Yang can endure in this kind of life. Yeah, then Meng Yang will not be able to fight those people, and it will be impossible to be happy. Maybe he will divorce early because he can't bear it. Meng Yang's father and Yu Junqian's mother, as well as Meng Yang's aunt and uncle and aunt, were also there. After they saw Luo Xiu, they were more surprised than Yu Junqian's friends, but they watched the surprise until it was only after Meng Yang and Luo Xiu left that they recovered, and then they looked at each other silently and did not know what to say. Chapter 19 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second. Hand married wife of a wealthy old man. 19 When the spring comes, students will start to go back to school, and freshmen from major universities will start to enroll. Shenyang University, which Meng Yang has always wanted to be admitted to, is a famous private university in the whole country and even the whole world, and this university has produced many celebrities. The reason why Meng Yang wants to be admitted to this university is because this university has the best incense college in the country. Since he learned various knowledge related to perfumery from an early age, the basic knowledge is very solid, especially botany. The study was very good, so in his previous life, he was admitted to the School of Fragrance of Sunya University. It was only after he entered the school that the gap caused by his talent became more and more obvious. In order to save Luo Xiu, Meng Yang missed the entrance exam of Xianya College of Sunya University, which was originally unsuccessful. However, Luo Xiu's company invested a lot of money in several branches such as Xiang College and School of Economics every year. Over the years, the amount of investment has become very objective, so he let the college arrange an entrance exam for Meng Yang alone, and the college will naturally not give him this big gold face. Meng Yang's entrance examination score is very high, but even so, in the eyes of some people, he still became a student who entered the Xiang College by walking through the back door. On the first day of school, Meng Yang got off the bus at the entrance of Xiang College, and then walked to the classroom for freshmen. The Xiang College of Xinya University is like an ancient garden. All the buildings and layouts in it are all in classic style. All students are divided into classes according to grades, but because it is the first day of enrollment, the first class is all concentrated in the largest classroom. The seats in the classroom are arranged in a convex shape, and the table in the middle and front is the first seat in the year. Meng Yang's entrance examination score is higher than that of Junchen, but with all the grades and grades in high school, Junchen's overall score is higher than that of Meng Yang, so he sits at the middle table, and Meng as the second place. Yang sat at the first table on the far left. In the gaze of other students, Meng Yang walked over to sit down. Those students who had known each other were using mobile phones to communicate. Meng Yang and Yu Junchen are step-brothers, and their marriage and engagement to a father and son, respectively, can be said to be the biggest gossip of the entire college. Yu Junchen also looked back at Meng Yang, thinking about how to talk to Meng Yang. He had to reconcile with Meng Yang, and find a way to make Meng Yang trust him as before, so he could have the opportunity to know that the Meng family ancestors stayed the contents of those books that come down. There are also only freshman students who have the opportunity to attend classes in the master class twice a month. After the freshman period ends, only one class of students has the opportunity to attend classes in the master class. So this first class, the students are very excited, because today is the first time they have attended a class in the master class, and several national level or even world class masters will come today. For most of them, this opportunity may only be once or twice in a lifetime. Prompt for the light music that arrives during the class time, all the students stand beside their seats, and several masters come in and sit on the front podium, and each master brings 2 students, and they are also the masters. Behind the seats, the freshmen sat down after the teachers in each class also sat down. The 2 masters sitting in the middle, one with a serious face and indifferent eyes, just looked at it and gave the freshmen a sense of fear. He is Yu Junchen's teacher and a world class incense, fragrance, aromatherapy, the master Zhuangjia. The other is slightly rich, with a kind smile on his face, and is also a world class master of scented Lin Songtai. These 2 are recognized by the country as a representative of the academia, and they have a very high status in the academia. However, the 2 are not only different in personality, but also the inconsistencies between them. It is also something that everyone in the academia knows. After sitting down, Su Wangya glanced at all the freshmen quickly, then stopped her eyes on Meng Yang's face and frowned and asked, "Who is this seat arranged for?" The grade leader immediately got up and replied. "The seat arrangement is the same as before, and all are arranged in the order of an. I'm not asking about other students." Su Wangya frowned. Why didn't the student who didn't take the entrance exam and walk through the back door enter the school? The grade leader glanced at Meng Yang and said. Although Meng Yang did not take the entrance exam with other students, the college arranged a test for him alone, and his overall score was the second place among all freshmen, so only. A person who breaks the rules will eventually not be covered by the rules, and special arrangements will not be included in the rules. It is the greatest unfairness to those who abide by the rules. Su Wangya said with a face. I don't care if he actually takes the exam no matter what his total score is, in my case, it doesn't count, so move his seat to the end. The grade leader glanced at Meng Yang again, and for a moment he didn't know what to do. Su Wangya didn't even believe that Meng Yang's entrance examination score would be higher than that of Yu Junchen, because Meng Yang and Yu Junchen had participated in a Xiangdao competition before. Originally this level of competition was invited to Zhuangjia, but Su Wangya had happened to meet an old friend, who was invited by the old friend to be a temporary judge, and all the contestants were nervous and excited. In this game, although Meng Yang reached the semi-finals, but because of being too nervous, when playing incense and seal, the movements were very irregular, and the proportion of raw materials for fragrance was not well matched, and Su Wangya was criticized very miserably. After the fact that Meng Yang's entrance examination score was higher than that of Yu Junchen spread, even other students didn't believe it, let alone those of Wang Wangya and Yu Junchen. And because of this incident, the brothers in Yu Junchen felt very dissatisfied, and they all said bad things about Meng Yang in front of Su Wangya, and Su Wangya also hated Meng Yang even more. Su Wangya asked the grade head to move Meng Yang's seat to the end, but the grade head felt very embarrassed because he was just a small grade head who neither dared offend Su Wangya nor Luo Xiu. The gods fight mortals suffering, he can't afford to offend people on both sides. Seeing that the grade head was standing in awkward position, Su Wangya was ready to let the students sitting behind him start, and Yu Junchen stood up and said, Teacher, just forget it today. Since the school is arranged like this, I want other students it's not an accountant, the teacher's time is precious, and the students have been looking forward to it for a long time. Other things are better to put away temporarily. Su Wangya valued the student Jun very much, because Yu Junchen was the most talented of all his students, and he felt that he was talented and hard-working enough to be much stronger than other young people with impetuous hearts now, and knew etiquette, obey the rules, in terms of incense and fragrance, also has his style when he was young. Su Wangya wanted to say that it was due to Jun Chen's request. Today, I don't care about this for the time being. Meng Yang is grateful for Jun Chen, but Meng Yang who has seen his thoughts has stood up. Mr. Su, Meng Yang first bent slightly to salute, then looked at Su Wangya and said. You always think that I have not followed the school's rules for starting school, so is it not worthy of sitting here? Yu Junchen immediately turned to Meng Yang to wink. Meng Yang. Do you still want to deny it? Su Wangya frowned. As far as I know, since the establishment of Sunyu University, there have been at least a few hundred students like me who have passed separate examinations. That is to say, in the rules of Sunyu University, such admission methods are allowed to exist. I am not the first case, nor is it an exception. Mr. Su has taught at Sunyu University for more than 10 years. Before me, there were so many people who enrolled in the same way as me. You did not raise any objections, but only against me. If a person raises an objection, can I think that as long as you are always dissatisfied, you will not abide by the rules when you are old, and the others will not be considered? Su Wangya's brow furrowed tighter, and his face was harder to look at, because few people could make him speechless, not to mention Meng Yang, a hairy kid he didn't care about. Lin Songtai put down the teacup and turned to look at Su Wangya and said with a smile. His words are very reasonable. You said that his way of enrolling is unfair to other students. Then you only object to his way of enrolling. His unfairness. Still, you rely on your age and identity, and you feel that you can decide whether or not to follow the rules. Su Wangya glanced hard at Lin Songtai, and then looked at Meng Yang and said. You are young, but you have such a deep mind, and you set traps everywhere. Do you think I am someone, can you be caught in your words? Such qualities and ambitions will certainly bite us back in the future, and the consequences will be terrible. Then you always think that one of my words is unreasonable or untrue. I am willing to listen to the teachings. Meng Yang said humbly. I didn't want to take the time of other students to do more with you. Since you don't leave yourself a retreat, then I will make it clearer. Su Wangya looked at Meng Yang and said. The way you enroll is it's unfair to other students because your test scores are fake, and it's ridiculous. You don't know how to sit in your present position, and you have a straightforward theory with me. Are you upright? Mr. Su has determined that my grades are fraudulent, so I will explain more, and in your old heart it is just sophistry. In that case, it is up to you to ask questions, and how about taking another exam in front of all your classmates? Let Luo Qing take some of the exam questions prepared for you. Su Wangya turned his head and said to the students behind him, and then looked at Meng Yang and said. Since you asked for it, then I will let myself know clearly and also clearly reality. I let Jun Chen take the exam with you so that you can know what the gap is. Chapter 20 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second. Hand married wives of wealthy old men 20 Su Wangya best students and 2 assistants brought up the exam questions, placed in wooden boxes. These so-called exam questions are not the contents of the exam written on a few sheets of paper, but various powders, liquids and pastes. 3. A solid raw material extract is an object in which a scented part has been prepared from the raw material. Jun Chen, you blindfolded and compared with him, he felt unfair to save. Su Wangya said. Yes. After Yu Junchen replied, he picked up a wide white cloth and blindfolded. Although he did not want his relationship with Meng Yang to become worse, but things became like this, he could only take out your strength is here. Meng Yang also sat down, and blindfolded his eyes with a wide strip of cloth. Su Wangya looked at his behavior and sneered sarcastically. Su Wangya's 2 assistants opened the wooden box, then took out the small dish with the lid, and arranged it neatly on the long table in front of Meng Yang's and Yu Junchen. After Su Wangya nodded, the 2 assistants opened the lid of one of the small dishes and put it in front of Meng Yang and Yu Junchen. Just when Jun Chen picked up the small dish and placed it under his nose, just about to concentrate on smelling the smell, Meng Yang already said, Lingxiang bean powder. Yu Junchen froze for a moment, then waited for the answer to be announced. The assistant swept a little bit of the powder from the dish with Xiang Yu into the lid, and then showed the bottom of the dish to everyone. Lingxiang bean powder, correct. Shan Mo sesame oil. Yu Junchen also replied. Sujamosa oil, correct. The assistant displayed the bottom of the dish. Evening root. Meng Yang replied again. Tuberose root, right. Zilan Yi. Meng Yang replied. Zilanai, right. Gui Gui Chow. Guayao grass, right. Honey pods. Honey pods, right. After Meng Yang had answered 5 spices in a row, Yu Junchen said the second one. Gui Hui Chow. Guayao grass, right. The emotion of surprise has gradually appeared in other people's hearts, and Su Wangya's brow has also frowned. Yu Junchen was also anxious in his heart, wanting to catch up with Meng Yang's speed quickly, but in the case of covering his eyes, he needed to concentrate enough to confirm the fragrance. Next, basically it was a performance by Meng Yang alone. Although Yu Junchen's accuracy rate is also very good, but his speed is under the comparison of Meng Yang, the gap is too big. The benzoin has Sephora butter, cistanche, mandarin pine, tangerine oil, rice star, and has the effect of calming, making people happy in smelling for a long time. Correct. Su Wangya's assistant looked at Meng Yang's eyes and was even more surprised. Benzoin refers to the type of incense. This kind of benzoin formula is quite common, but there are many different combinations of formulas, so Meng Yang can say all the ingredients correctly at such a fast speed. It is really powerful. 2. After Meng Yang spoke several different types of blended fragrances successively and correctly stated the ingredients of the formula, not only the students looked at him with incredibly shocked eyes, but even the masters sitting on them, shocked eyes. They can't hide anymore, because they are still students, and the harmonious incense just needs to say 2 or 3 main fragrances, and Meng Yang has accurately stated all the ingredients. The sensitivity of the sense of smell is really impressive. Had to be shocked. Yu Junchen had already started to panic, but the more he panicked, the harder it was to concentrate, and the slower the confirmation. After Meng Yang answered all the fragrance ingredients on the table accurately, Yu Junchen only confirmed that less than 1/3, Su Wanya's face became very ugly, just confirmed the facts with his own eyes, he cannot help but believe. Meng Yang untied the blindfolded cloth, then looked at Su Wanya and said, "What else does Mr. Su want to take? Pharmacology, botany, zoology, chemistry, physics, or fragrance geography or fragrance history? These basic subjects are meaningless, so let's show you how to make incense and seal." Lin Songtai raised his hand and asked people to prepare things. Yu Junchen had already untied the cloth, but his eyes kept staring at the desktop, and he dared not look at Zuanjia. In fact, what he can do now is beyond the reach of other students, but Meng Yang's strength just showed him a sense of panic. He really didn't even dream of dreaming, he would lose to Meng Yang. The 2 brothers of Yu Junchen watched and couldn't help worrying about him. They worried that Yu Junchen would be scolded by Su Wanya for losing to Meng Yang. Lin Songtai's assistant brought the incense sticks and put them on Meng Yang's table, then Lin Songtai looked at Meng Yang seriously, waiting for him to start. Fragrant sealing is similar to the process of showing tea-making skills in the tea ceremony. It has certain steps and procedures. Xiangdao has been an art since ancient times, and it has become a kind of art, including many categories, and there are many different schools. Lin Songtai looked at Meng Yang's movement seriously, and at first he became expressionless due to his seriousness and expectation, but when he saw Meng Yang seemed relaxed, he did every step of the movement, he gradually smiled again, and he was able to do these movements casually and pleasingly. It was a very difficult thing. If he did not do well enough, it would be annoying, so most students are more willing to learn rules. Steps in place. The display process of Meng Yang is completely in the style of Lin Songtai. After filling the incense powder, Meng Yang lifted the sealer vertically, after finishing the hole, lit one end of the figure, and finally closed the lid of the incense burner. The assistant came over, carefully lifted the incense burner, walked to the side of Lin Songtai, and gently placed the incense burner on the low table. Lin Songtai opened the incense burner cover, firstly observed the seal, and nodded with satisfaction, then covered the incense burner cover, then observed the smoke, and finally closed his eyes and tasted the fragrance seriously. The powder was temporarily prepared by Meng Yang. Lin Songtai smelled fresh and had a relaxing feeling. Although it also has a certain relationship with the quality of the powder, it has to be said that the proportion of Meng Yang's preparation is very well controlled. The others around Lin Songtai, including Su Wanya, felt the same way as him. Lin Songtai opened his eyes and looked at several other masters of fragrance, who nodded at the same time. "If you are willing to accept my guidance, you can come to me to take classes from tomorrow." Lin Songtai looked at Meng Yang and said. Lin Songtai directly indicated that he was going to accept Meng Yang as a student. After hearing this, other students all showed envious expressions. Students who could become masters of international incense studies, for others, can be said to be related to one's life. Things. Thank you Mr. Lin for giving me this opportunity. I will definitely try my best to live up to the opportunity you gave. Meng Yang replied seriously, and being able to become a world-class perfume master student has many benefits, although Meng Yang, unlike other students, you need to become a master student to change your destiny, but students who can become masters are certainly better. Lin Songtai smiled and nodded. Meng Yang also looked at Su Wangya, who was not very good looking, and said, I know that many people feel that my grades are fraudulent, so I would also like to thank Mr. Su for giving me the opportunity to break untrue rumors and prove myself. Meng Yang turned to the other students and said, I'm really sorry for delaying everyone's time because of me. Lin Songtai and several other masters around him gave Meng Yang a few points, because no matter whether Meng Yang was genuine or hypocritical, his actions were the best way to express it. After all, these masters still value them very much. The words and deeds of young people and their behavior. Even the contradiction that Su Wangya provoked first, and Meng Yang proved his strength, but if Meng Yang behaved unreasonably, then even if he took advantage of it, it would be offensive. After all, Su Wangya's identity status is already there. The more modest and decent the performance of Meng Yang, the more it appears that Su Wangya is bullying the juniors by relying on his own status, which is not in line with the behavior model of high moral prestige. Su Lao, are you satisfied now? Lin Songtai turned to look at Su Wangya and said. Because of your prejudice, which delays the students' time and hours, you have nothing to say. People on Lin Songtai's side started to talk. In fact, the order of the seats is not fixed. After every month's assessment, the seats will be rearranged. Is his score real? Is there a chance to confirm it later? I really can't figure out what is necessary or necessary. Today someone will move his seat to the back. Yes, just based on my own guesses, it is concluded that a student's grades must be fraudulent, and without proof, he will be punished by his own identity. Then if all teachers have the same learn, isn't this school going to mess up? We can't control your own reputation, but don't hurt us and the reputation of the school. If the students think we are the same as you, then we will not sit idly by. Su Wangya was silenced by the people on Lin Songtai's side. You said nothing to me. He couldn't refute their words, because this time it was his fault. Even though 99% of Meng Yang's schools may be cheating, he should make a decision after verification, rather than his own judgment. Moreover, he is not the school leader and did not deal with students. The right to make a decision is only because of his position in the Xiang Academia, and the school leaders have to give him face. I blamed you wrong, and I apologize to you. Su Wangya has been respected for so many years, and now he has to pull his face down to apologize to Meng Yang, otherwise it seems that he has no manners. He suppresses the anger in his heart, and looks at with a straight face. The grade leader said. Grade grader, I will give a class to all students tomorrow, and I will teach it personally. Okay, the senior replied. After such a long time, these masters finally began to lecture. In fact, this class today is mainly for these masters to explain their ideas of incense to the students separately. The reason why so many masters are doing it at the same time is because there has been a slander between the masters of the other party's ideas, so the school simply let them conduct such a course together. After listening to these masters' own insights into the fragrant studies, Lin Songtai and Su Wangya explained the techniques and methods of other fragrances to the students. All the students covered their eyes with cloth strips and held the powdered powder in their hands. Feel seriously. The author has something to say. Stop changing on Monday and Wednesday next week, and start changing after entering V.